Guys, I love crossovers. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be talking about crossovers. Some crossovers that I would like to see. This is more of a wish list kind of thing, and I've written 10 crossovers, movie crossovers, that I would really like to see one day. A lot of these will never happen, most likely, but hey, with the news about Godzilla versus King Kong coming out recently, I thought, why not put my wish list out there? Because at least Hollywood will see that maybe me and some other people out there might want to see some of these cool little crossover ideas. So, in Hollywood, don't be afraid to get in contact with me to try to get my ideas. You can pay me off easily. I'm a low price kind of guy. Or you can bring me in and help me. I'll help your writers or whatever figure out an idea. I don't know, but anyways, these are my 10 ideas for crossovers that I think would be a lot of fun to see in live action. So let's do this. First of all, this is in no particular order, so I just want to throw that out there. So the first one I have on my list is Star Trek versus Star Wars. That's right. I think we need a Star Wars, Star Trek crossover in some capacity. And I think that would be really cool, seeing Captain Kirk and Spock teaming up with Luke or Han, or maybe even some of the new characters in The Force Awakens. I think that would be really cool to see something like that, and taking on, whoever the threat is in Star Wars, Kylo Ren or some of those new characters. It would be cool to see the Federation in Star Trek go up against the Empire in some capacity. So I'd really be all for that, really. Big Hero 6 and The Incredibles, you'd think this would be simple, Disney, Pixar, all under one roof. I think an Incredibles and Big Hero 6 crossover really needs to happen, especially with all these other superhero team-ups going on. Disney animated villains. This is something I've always had in mind, that Disney should just do a movie, animation, hand-drawn animation, and draw all their, classic characters, villains and heroes. But the reason why I said villains is more because the movie would have, the way I envision it, it would have like all the Disney villains teaming up to take down this new threat, and you'd have Mickey and Donald, maybe with cameos with and Goofy, maybe with cameos from some of the other Disney heroes like Aladdin or Hercules, etc., and have them try to, they find this boy or this man or whoever's, because it would be a live action animation hybrid like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and so the main human character would be the main character, right? And he would have to go and stop whatever the Disney villain's evil scheme is. It would be something like Kingdom Hearts, because I really love the Kingdom Hearts video game franchise, and I love the aspect where the Disney villains, are all gathering together and plotting shit to destroy the universe and stuff like that. I think that's really cool, and I think something like that would be cool to translate on screen, and seeing a lot of those great Disney villains again. Let's face it, a lot of the reasons why these Disney movies are a lot of fun is because of the Disney villains. Some of my all-time favorites is like Jafar, Hades, and Scar, just to name a few. I those are some of my all-time favorite villains. It would be great to just see them on screen, fighting all the Disney heroes. I don't know. I think it would be cool if Disney did something like that. Also on my list, I have Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. Now, this is a team-up that already happened on television. It was really cheesy though, and a lot of Power Ranger fans and Ninja Turtle fans tried to ignore that episode. I was one of the few people that actually enjoyed it for what it was, but even I know it has a lot of flaws. It's more of a guilty pleasure type of thing for me. So, but let's face it, there's a Ninja Turtles movie out right now with a sequel on the way that I'm looking forward to. And there's also a Power Ranger movie in the works, a Power Ranger reboot film in the works of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And something that I always wanted to see, even though it was cool, the Ninja Turtle crossover on Power Rangers in Space, I wanted it to be the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers teaming up with the Turtles. And since there's a reboot on the way, and you know that there's already a reboot Ninja Turtles also right now, I think it would be a cool idea to finally do, you know, the proper Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers team up film. If, you know, Nickelodeon and Paramount decide to team up with Lionsgate, who's doing the Power Ranger movie, I think that would be a cool idea. So, just throwing that out there. I also have Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. Now, I'm kind of cheating here because Game of Thrones isn't a movie, it's a TV show, but it's very it feels very cinematic when you watch Game of Thrones. It's definitely one that I would be interested if they ever made a Game of Thrones movie. And Lord of the Rings, you know, the reason why this comes up on my list is because when Joffrey was ruling, while Joffrey was still on the show, because, you know, I always thought it would be, because I hated Joffrey with a passion, and I always thought, you know what, if this was Lord of the Rings, you know, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, and maybe even Gandalf too, would all bust into the throne room, it'd kick all those soldiers' ass, and Gandalf would be like, Joffrey, you shall not pass! And, I don't know, zap him or something, like he did to the King of Rohan, what's his name? But yeah, I always thought it would be cool just to see a little battle like that. Legolas would get out his bow and arrow and shoot Joffrey right in the head. It would be perfect. It would be perfect. But Joffrey's dead, so I don't see the point for that crossover really anymore. I also have Blade versus Twilight. This has to happen because, let's face it, Twilight ruined the image of vampires. And I saw the first Twilight movie only, and it was terrible. So I didn't even bother with the other Twilight films. So we get Blade, and we put him in a crossover with Twilight. And, you know, he's like on a quest to, you know, bring back vampires' reputations. And so, yeah, he has to kill all of the vampires that were in Twilight. And that's the end of that. We all know he's going to win at the end. But it would just be good, you know, to have someone redeem vampires. And Blade's the guy to do it. Next on my list, I have James Bond and Jason Bourne. This is one that I think I've heard some people talk about and play around with the idea of. And I would like to see a James Bond, Jason Bourne crossover. I mean, British secret spy, you know, teaming up with an American spy, and well, Jason Bourne's a fugitive too, right now, and he still hasn't cleared his name. So I thought it would be cool, something like where you see James Bond is on a mission to get Jason Bourne, but then he finds out what has happened to him, and you know, it takes a while, obviously, for them to find out. It would be like a little cat and mouse game at first, and then they would obviously team up and take down the real threat, and that's how Jason Bourne will finally clear his name with the help of James Bond. But that's just a little idea I had. Next on my list, I have Spider-Man and Wolverine. I think, you know, we all know Spider-Man's going to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but ever since that original Spider-Man movie came out with Sam Raimi, played by Tobey Maguire, I always thought it would be really cool to see Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man teaming up with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And then obviously, you know, Andrew Garfield became Spider-Man, and it was still the same thing for me. I still wanted to see, okay, Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man teaming up with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Now we got Tom Holland playing Spider-Man in the upcoming Captain America Civil War, and I still want to see my Spider-Man Wolverine team up. This is like the Batman and Superman of Marvel. You have to do a Batman Superman team up, which they are, and you have to do a Wolverine Spider-Man team up too. I think that would be really cool, and it could be a lot of fun there, especially with Wolverine's attitude, and you team him up with a little kid like Spider-Man, I mean, or a teenage kid. And yeah, I think there could be some really interesting dynamics there. I can't wait for Captain America Civil War, because it's going to be great to see how Spider-Man interacts with the Iron Man and Captain America and the rest of those guys. Next on my list, I have Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy. This is another one that a lot of people thought that, hey, this could happen, with, especially since Disney owns both Lucasfilm and Marvel now. And yeah, it's an obvious choice, I'll admit, but you know what? It is a crossover I would really love to see, because Guardians of the Galaxy is a lot like Star Wars. It's something that any generation can enjoy. And I think they'll meshing them with Star Wars could work really well and a lot of fun. And who wouldn't want to see, like, you know, Star Lord hanging out and talking to Harrison Ford or Han Solo, or even Rocket talking to Chewbacca and Groot? That would be funny. I don't know. I think there would be some interesting dynamics there and some interesting similarities too between some of the characters. So, yeah. Finally, the last one on my list, I have Avengers and Justice League. We all know that DC is finally cranking it up to get to a Justice League movie. We got Batman v Superman coming out this year. We got Suicide Squad. Wouldn't it be cool if DC and Marvel put away their differences on the big screen and hey, let's let bygones be good bygones, you know? Let's have Disney, Warner Brothers, Marvel, and DC in a room together discussing the terms and deals. You can have Loki and the Joker as the main threats teaming up. Maybe Loki even gives the Joker powers, and the Joker just has all this ultimate power of the universe and, you know, goes batshit insane. And the Justice League and the Avengers have to team up to take down this insane threat. I think something like that would be amazing. I think they did something like that in the comics, where the Joker, I think he merged with Carnage, though, from SpiderMan. They could do that too, for all I care. There's so much they can do with a crossover that big in scope. What kind of tone would that be, though, with DC taking a huge darker tone, darker, more grounded tone, and Marvel taking the more lighter, fun approach? Like, what kind of, would there even be an in-between approach for that? I don't know, but I would love to see a huge crossover like that. I think that would be, wow, that would be when studios are getting really desperate, when the superhero films are finally slowing down, like Spielberg has been saying. That's when Warner Brothers and Disney will come to terms and say, okay, let's do it. Let's finish this. Let's go all out. Let's do the Justice League and Avengers. That's it. That's how superhero movies are gonna fade out after that. And so with that being said, guys, I'm gonna end this right here. Those are some, you know, crossovers that I would like to be on the big screen. I think they would be a lot of fun. What do you think? What are some crossovers that you guys would like to see? Tell me, because I'm interested. I'm sure a lot of people like me have some weird, crazy ideas of crossovers. I'm sure some of you might even have some of those flying around in your ideas. And yeah, let this be an all-out fanfic kind of thing. Don't write a whole fan fiction, but whatever, you know, just tell me your ideas. And you know, guys, subscribe to my channel, because I have a lot more videos coming out in the future, and lots of reviews and maybe crazy ideas like these. I don't know. So until next time, guys, take care.